Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. So, through my journey to find very profitable strategies to farm, I started experimenting with Abyss, and it definitely exceeded my expectations. Is what can I say? Abyss. I mean, let me just put it this way: the farming strat I've been testing past few days is definitely it's not quite the blight. It's not necessarily the level of currency per hour I've been making. Like after I found about the blight, like I made 400 divines the day after they nerfed 16.5s because the prices of maps skyrocketed. It's not quite this level of currency, but it's getting them close. It's honestly getting them close because what I did basically is I combined the abyss risk strategy with conversion of your maps and with map juicing to Cirrus, Shaper, Elder, and Synth maps. And the result is honestly devastating. It's absolutely devastating. So, quick, showcase of what I've been doing. I've been doing double risk Scarabs to add additional modifiers to the map, right? More quantity, more pack size, more modifiers. Like sometimes you're gonna get more maps, more scarabs, more currency and stuff like that, right? So very nice here. Abyss Scarab of Edifice, if that's how you pronounce it. Basic stuff, right? As Abyss travels further, you open the hordes are going to spawn, and you open them with the caster mastery. Thankfully, this build can do that. So I'm gonna talk about everything later, right? That being said, a very decent amount of profit from that, as long as you add decent amount of abysses to your maps, and it's very easy to do. And then we're doing the classic combo that I've been doing before during the Blight. Excuse me. Is Cartography Scarab of Escalation and Influencing Scarab of Conversion. This is our main money maker. This is what allows you to get these expensive maps. And Cartography Scarab of Escalation works even better now with risk scarabs of risk because you add additional modifiers. So you don't have, like, for example, if you're running a tier 17 map, right, or if you want to buy corrupted tier 16.5s, you're not going to have 6 modifiers or 8 modifiers. You're going to have +4, and this works with Cartography Scarab of Escalation. So the result is pretty messed up. I mean, I'm not gonna say that this is something ridiculous, like we're gonna be making 100 divines per hour or something like that. Definitely not. But it's very good as long as you are willing to sell the maps. That's just the reality of it. I've noticed that any farm I tried doing this league, pretty much if you're doing this combo, the profits are going to be automatically much higher, and it's not that hard to do maps. This could be one of it's not that hard to sell maps. This could be one of the reasons why people are kind of straying away from this combo of scarabs, because they are afraid to sell maps. But the truth is, you're gonna add these to any farming strategy that is capable of like has some scarab slots to spare, and automatically the strategy is just going to be way more profitable. That's just the way it is. I tested different strategies. That's just the way it is. You just there's nothing you can do about it. You are printing Conquer and Synth maps with this. There's nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to give you guys a showcase. This is the showcase from the stream. I'm not going to run the map itself because I literally recorded that I was streaming like a few hours ago. So this is going to be a perfect example of how the strategy more or less is going to look like. Here I was checking out the mods just to see if there's anything deadly. Here is a thing I learned about Risk Scarab, which I had no idea about before. Risk is great for this strategy, and you don't even need that strong of a build. You really don't. The reason being is Risk does put modifiers on your map, but they do not get scaled by the Atlas modifiers. They just don't. What that means is basically if the default Atlas modifier, if the default map modifier has, for example, 60% less recovery of energy shield, life, whatever, the dreaded less recovery mod on many builds, We don't care about that because this will not get scaled into 100 something percent, and you basically gonna have no leech and no regen at the same time on a single modifier. That's not how it works. It is going to stay 60%. Keeping in mind the amount of additional, more pack size, more increased quantity, increased rarity, and so on. These stats will also not get boosted. That being said, you're still adding 4 modifiers that, for the most part, they shouldn't be really dangerous for most builds at all, because they're not scaled by the Atlas modifiers, so they're not going to be basically times 2. So that's absolutely fantastic because it works even better with the Scarab, as I mentioned before. That gives you 10% increased maps per modifier on your map, which is insane because this 10% increase, it basically is a multiplier. This basically counts as, as compared to, if you're running a map with 10 mods, you're gonna have double the amount of mats compared to a map without this Scarab. So that's absolutely crazy and a very strong combo in my opinion. Additionally, I wanted to talk about what are the differences between Blight. I'm gonna scroll this a little bit because that was a long map. I was really not trying to do it fast whatsoever. I just tried to record basically the profit from 10 maps. The speed at which you'll be doing those is going to definitely vary. From my experience, I could say that I've been doing a single map for about 10 minutes each, and I've been doing them slow. On top of that, additional delays came from inventory management because I tried to put all the loot in the correct tabs just to not mess up anything, and it definitely adds a little bit of annoyance to how quickly you're going to run your maps. So you can run, in my opinion, more or less you're going to do a single map on a specialized build for speed farming in about 6 minutes. You should be able to do so. So for 10 maps, I think you'll be able to, on a very good build that is specialized for for such content, I think you'll be able to do 10 maps, which, no spoilers, I'm going to show the results of these 10 maps after the showcase. But I think you'll be able to do 10 maps in about 60 minutes, in about an hour, if you really build appropriate for that. Me, if I try to speed up and try to do it as quickly as possible on this build, I would probably do 10 maps in about 90 minutes. So 50% slower than that, right? So, but that would still be very good profit, by the way. But that's besides the point. What I wanted to talk about is how does it differ compared to Blight, right? Because you might be wondering right now, yo, Karn, you're doing Abyss, right? Or you're doing it just for the sake of doing something else, or do you just want to find something actually better that is Blight? Tell you what, I don't think that you're going to find this league anything that is going to be better than Blight. The amount of monsters and how they're juiced with the Scarab, and the amount of monsters that the Blight produces is just... I'm not 100% sure if you can beat that. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% sure if you can beat that. The amount of currency you can make doing Blight almost rivals freaking Valdos, man. It almost rivals Valdos. If you have the best build in the game and you're doing the hardest Valdos that will give you many divines per map completion, Blight, if set up properly, it's just disgusting. It really is. That being said, I wanted to talk about the differences. And the main difference, in my opinion, is that doing this strategy, the profit is not going to be as good, once again, but doing this strategy is going to be much easier. As I mentioned already before, I was just putting some loot in the stash here. As I mentioned before, the risk Scarabs are not all that risky at the end of the day, which is ironic. Because you're not going to feel that basic modifiers, that default modifiers. Okay, if you're going to find no leech from time to time, which is very rare, because keep in mind that you're going to find modifiers from tier 16 and tier 17 pools. So it's very unlikely that very rarely you're going to find modifiers that will actually make the map much harder. Usually it's going to be some basic stuff, some added damage or some speed or some blah 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 blah, whatever, right? Basic stuff. So when it comes to that, the maps are much easier. You can roll maps, tier 17 maps, very easily, and in some ways it's actually a little bit cheaper to reroll maps because tier 17 maps always roll 6 modifiers. You just boom, 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 chaos, and boom, you have 6 modifiers every single time. So it's very likely that you're going to find a good map very quickly and you're going to save time here. Right, so that's another great thing. I was just like talking to viewers here. So all these things, not only you're going to be saving time, but all these things like make the strategy like much easier and much like, you know, convenient, let's just say. Obviously, blights, sometimes if you're going to be doing blight, no matter pretty much how good your build is, sometimes you're going to fail. Depending on what your modifiers are on the map, and you don't really want to like usually just skip really good maps, right? You just don't want to. So if your modifiers are going to be fantastic, you want to run this map on blight. If you're doing the blight farming strat, and if the blight is going to like produce like a lot of monsters, or like, you know, you're gonna get unlucky, then you're gonna fail this map. There's nothing you can do about it. Here, nothing like that's gonna happen. It's just not going to happen, right? You're totally fine. The risk Scarabs, as I mentioned before, are actually not that risky. They're actually relatively easy to run, at least compared to other farming strats I've done so far. I mean, I can name them. Like the hardest by far is Blight. After that, I think it was Breach, and this one was, and this farming strat was like the easiest from the past 3 that I've been doing. So definitely the easiest. Like I think I can actually hit 100 doing this without even caring too much what mods there are. Because for the most part, I'm just not dying, right? For the most part, I'm not. So, pretty easy, very convenient to run, and it's just really amazing. It really is. If you're not afraid of selling maps, and you shouldn't be, because there are many sites, many different places where you can sell maps in huge bulks. As long as you have space in your in your stash, then you don't have to sell them every 2 hours or anything like that. You can just get like a bigger bulk, and boom, you're done. Very nice, huge profits, right? I think I'm just going to scroll past this because for the most part, this is how the farming strategy looks like. So there is not much to talk about at this point. And now we're going to go into profits. And profits after 10 maps look like this. This is 10 maps. I did that on stream a few hours ago. No BS here whatsoever. As a matter of fact, every time I would change a price of some of these things, I try to put it a little bit less. So for example, Valdos are right now 155 chaos. I just checked it. So this is a little bit less than we can sell them for on the market, on the Faustus over here. You can sell them for 150, I think 455, something like that. Strands about 4 chaos, that's about right. 2.6 for stacked decks. They were like 2.65 or 2.7, so that is absolutely 100% correct. On TFT you can sell them even more. 1 divine for 75 stacked decks. This is how much you can get. So it will be still left over with 4 divines, and like 4.5 divines you could almost get. Okay, 4.3, something like that for this. So, but whatever, man. It's not like these are like small differences, right? It's not that important. Synthesized maps, once again, I put a little bit lower. You can sell 2 sets for 1 divine. This is lower than that. This is like, you know, realistically they're worth about 28 chaos each. So yeah, this thing, cartography scarabs of risk, they're worth about 23 chaos, but I put them for 20, and that's how much I'm going to count them for when we're going to be calculating the how much we spent rolling the maps and stuff like that, how much the strategy cost to run. Then this again. Then we have well, at this point I didn't pretty much change anything. So this is at this point pretty much what you see is what you're gonna get. Of course, Conquer maps, I didn't change them. They are insanely expensive. I don't even know why. Since last time I farmed maps, which was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. I don't know why, but since then they went from like 25 chaos each to 35 chaos each. That's how much you can sell them for now. 35. I saw some offers on TFT where people were buying 3 sets of these for 2 divines. So that's like what, 12 maps for 600. It's just insane. It's actually insane. Excuse me, 3 sets for 2 divines. So that's 12 maps for 430 chaos. So that's like 30. it's just stupid how much they're worth. It really is. You're gonna roll them. You're gonna roll these on your Scarab, because keep in mind that this rolls for the entire map. So if this decides that you're gonna roll shaper maps, then entire map is filled with shaper maps, right? Conversion. You're gonna convert to shaper maps. The same with conquer maps. The same with synth maps, right? So you have 50% chance basically to get these ridiculously expensive maps, and you're gonna get tons of them. You're going to get tons of them, and on top of that, you know, you're gonna be farming tier 16 maps of your choice, whatever it's going to be, you know, whatever you want to do, right? If you want to sell strands, you can sell strands. Whatever, if you want to sell something else, people are buying a lot of tier 16 maps. They're buying a lot of them still, because people like to run different strategies, and tier 16 maps sell all the freaking time. It's very easy to sell them. I still sell them constantly, and it's just not hard at all, right? So all this included, the rest of these things, I do believe I didn't even change. The conquer maps were sitting here for 30 chaos, which is less than their worth. Elder maps for 10 chaos seems about right. You could maybe sell them for like 9 or 8, but like, you know, it's gonna be like small difference. So I didn't even touch that. And all this other stuff at this point, this is gonna get lower and lower. Some of these maps, like for example this for 20 chaos, you could sell in bulk tier 16.5 in bulk for 30 chaos. But I'm like, whatever, I didn't even touch anything after that, after pretty much the first page, because, you know, there's some inconsistencies here. But other than that, I didn't touch the rest. And you could argue right now that, oh, all these Scarabs that I have over here on the further pages, right, all of these, they're probably going to be worth less, because this is a 100% multiplier, and you're not going to sell them for that much in bulk. True, but it's going to make insanely small difference because of all these things that I mentioned before, that many of these items are underpriced. So at the end of the day, what you see over here is pretty much plus minus 3%, max 5% is what you're gonna get. I know that. I've played this season for a long time. I've been selling items in bulks and not only, and I know that this is just true. This is true. That being said, this is not total profit, because we need to calculate the costs. So let's just calculate, excuse me, the costs, shall we? So I'm just going to use my good old boy calculator and calculator, and we're going to run over real fast the costs of the maps. So first of all, we have the map itself. I've been buying fortress maps for 80 chaos in bulk on TFT, so that's going to be ADC. Oops, that's going to be ADC. Plus, believe me or not, to roll these, and this kind of, you know, proves me right when I said that it takes very little time compared to the previous farming methods to actually roll your maps. It took me 58 chaos to roll 10 maps to get them to the point where I decided, all right, this looks good enough, I can run this. Right? So I had different maps. I had plus 100% more maps, 140% more currency, different stuff like that. Almost all of them were very high quant. So 58 chaos. I'm just going, for the sake of, you know, whatever, I'm just going to say that instead of 5.8 chaos per map, it was like 8 chaos per map, let's just say. In case I got lucky or something. But from experience, it is really easy to get decent tier 17 maps. And if you want to keep on rolling and get only really good ones, then guess what? You're gonna get probably even better profits, because like what like you're gonna spend 20 chaos on a single map? Who cares, right? It's nothing, right? If you're gonna get like extra profit every single map, that's going to be still better. But this is what I'm going to put in here, because that's how much it costs for me. So 8 chaos. After that, no exalts, because they're always spawned with maximum modifiers, so there's no cost over here. To every single one of those maps, I added 3 delirium orbs of divination for the divination cards. You could add 4. I think that adding 3 was a mistake, because these maps were relatively easy. So if I added 4, that would be additional profit. Probably like out of 10 maps, I will get additional 1 divine of profit or something like that. Maybe more, because more quantity on monsters. Who knows? That being said, I added 3. I'm going to count them as 20 chaos each. Right now, you can... I bought like 100 of them for 18 chaos each, but I'm going to add a little bit extra here, because who cares, right? Then we have Scarabs, and as I mentioned before, double cartography Scarab of risk, as I'm going to count them as 20 chaos each, which is going to be 40 chaos, and these are pathetically inexpensive. I don't know, 2C, just to have a nice round number. All of them are like 1 chaos, literally all of them. So nobody uses these two. So at the end of the day, we have 190 chaos, and that is the total cost of a single map, then times 10, then divided by, I don't know, divine is 215, let's just say. 8.8 divines, a total cost of rolling all these maps and buying fortress maps. So 8.8, 70.5 minus 8.8. That is the total profit after 10 maps. Once again, if you want to be nitpicky, you can cut 2 divines, even more if you want to, from this total result. That is still 6 divines per map. 6 divines per map. And on a very fast specialized build, you could do it. You could do 1 map in 6 minutes, no problem. I'm not going to believe that you couldn't on like a really good movement speed build. And once again, these maps are not that expensive. As I mentioned before, these are the easiest from all I've run so far. These are definitely the easiest. So, like guys, do you think that's bad or that's good? Like, let me know down in the comments. To me, that's actually freaking insane, right? Once again, the only negative is that you're not going to like it if you don't like the sell maps. If you don't mind selling maps on TFT or other places at all, then you're gonna have some devastating profits. That's all I have to tell, really. I mean, right? Like people were definitely after I showed them after we finished the session, right? And I've been doing that generally speaking past few days. They were really, just to put it lightly, pleased with the results, right? Anything after 50 divines after 10 maps is like, we have 62 like raw profit. So like, and once again, you could argue that you will get a little bit less for Scarabs. Okay, that's minus 2 divines, for example. I got 13 divines and only 4 exalts. Okay, so that's like minus 2 divines, let's just say. But that's still like, that's ridiculous. Still, like, even if you cut that by 7, even if you deducted 7 divines, that is still 5.5 divines per map. I mean, it is what it is, right? I'm not trying to like, I'm just trying to be, how to put it, very on point and not distort the reality, right? I just want you guys to see what you can expect from running this strat. That's all there is to it. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about the Mercenary for that one person in chat. And also, there are actually some comments on YouTube that asked me, what am I running on Mercenary? Long story short is Mercenaries is not necessarily something I've been paying a lot of attention to. So I actually don't know what the best items are. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm just going to put it out there right now. That being said, I am going to quickly go over my Mercenary. So what I have basically is my rings have recoup, damage taken, recoup as life. This is going to make them stay alive. This is only 12%, but I didn't even bother like getting something better. Here I bought Defiance of Destiny. This combo basically prevented him from dying completely. He doesn't die anymore. Before that, he was dying all the time. It was pissing me off. Right now, he doesn't anymore. It's great. Garb of the Ephemeral. This is pretty... Look, if you want to skip, if you want to run this strategy, but you're gonna skip Delirium completely, the Deli Orbs, then I guess you don't need that. This is gonna cost like what, 8 divines or something like that, maybe less now. But this basically gives you immunity to all these disgusting slowing effects from Delirium, reduced action speed modifier, petrification statues. There is so much stuff that is going to be frustrating, and this will make you immune to that. So this, with a combination of Mercenary not dying, is really good. Then 50% increased damage for nearby allies. You can use Crown of the Tyrant if you want, but that crown is 25 divines, right? You could most likely find something better than this. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. If you're gonna find something, feel free to use. I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure that mercenaries will not go core. There's too many balance problems with them, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to them. This mercenaries exists. It gives me a little bit of extra quantity, and on top of that, gives me immunity to this BS, and I'm happy with it. And that's what it is. This for increased Warcry buff effect and yeah, I mean, I don't even know why I use that. I mean, increased Warcry buff effect for Inspiring Cry, I guess. I don't know. And some resistances here, some resistances here. I didn't even change these boots. And then this to convert their damage to fire. This is not even mandatory because this character has very good physical damage reduction. It's 50,000 armor, so but you could use that, I guess. So for the people that wanted to see my mercenary, there it is. And oh, also I took off the weapon so that the mercenary doesn't kill himself on the reflect maps. This is infamous kineticist. So he like shoots like kinetic bolt, right, and greater kinetic blast, I guess. And if you're gonna take away his weapon, he doesn't attack anymore. So that's great. He just like walks around you, and he's like he's gonna buff you with haste aura and with this, right? It's that simple. He's not gonna die with these items. So that's really cool. Lastly, because this video is getting too long, I'm going to quickly talk about Atlas very quickly. Of course, I am going to give you the Atlas in the planner. But briefly, I'm going to talk about things that I did and things that you could do still to perhaps improve the strategy even further. So first of all, obviously this is a map strategy, so we're running all the map chance to for maps to become 1 tier higher, all of this, right? Basic stuff. Then we want to get all the quantity over here. Then we have every single point for map modifier effect. Obviously, we want to get all of these without exception. Of course, this will increase the difficulty, but will drastically increase the profits as well. Then, of course, we want to get some points into Abyss. So basically, every time you have a point that increases chance to spawn additional Abyss, you want that. Of course, this big cluster over here, because that will increase, generally speaking, like in the monsters and stuff like that. And the abysses will be longer, and the longer they are, not longer, they will have like they will travel more times, and every time they travel they spawn hordes. So that is exactly what you want to do. And then 4 points here, literally just to get a little bit more divination cards. These points to find more tier 16.5s. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And the remaining points I put into this cluster over here for altars, obviously, and into additional scarabs. So scarabs over here, scarabs over here, scarabs over here. This point here to have cartography scarabs, because risk scarabs are actually pretty expensive and they drop very often. Ambush scarabs, and basically that's it. The changes that you could do. First of all, this cluster over here that's only 15% monsters, and this is borderline, I don't want to say useless, but it's close to. You could drop this, that is 6 points. You could, for example, invest that into altars over here and like additional pack size for these guys. Or another thing that I was thinking about for quite some time. In the end, I decided not to go for it, but you could. What you get here for these 4 points and this cluster over here, all of this is about 70% chance to spawn beyond in your maps. About 70% chance. So you're going to be getting beyond every 2 out of 3 maps, maybe 3 out of 4 maps, right? You are killing a very substantial amount of monsters in these maps. There is a chance that making some small sacrifices, because they would be small sacrifices, you could invest into this over here and this, and 2 out of 3 maps you would get beyond, and that could be actually decent amount of additional monsters and decent amount of extra profits. It's impossible for me to say if at the end of the day that would be worth it. It probably would. It probably would be great for experience too. These beyond monsters are not like that scary. But it's up to you, right? That's pretty much the only optimization I found that you could go for. Adding this beyond for this little points would be decent addition. Maybe, for example, if you really hate this cluster over here, you could drop it and get these points over here for 15% rarity and 3% quantity. This will get scaled by the Atlas modifiers. It's up to you at this point, right? It's up to you. It's really hard to say. There are some options that you could still go for, but I honestly, I don't know. Maybe you know, this is not like you have to do it this way. Like if you wanted to make some changes, you can. There's no problem. No problem about it. And you know, the world is your oyster, right? If you're gonna find some optimizations, go for it. Let me know down in the comments too. If you're not going to, then use this, boys, and freaking make a lot of currency. That's all there is to it. All right, so thank you very much for watching, guys. That's pretty much it. All I wanted to talk about. I'm hoping I didn't forget about anything, but it's been like 30 minutes. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to give you everything, and also I'm going to give you POB of this character. One thing I completely forgot to talk about, actually, now that I think about, is that I wouldn't recommend doing this horde strat without this. This is going to be pain in the ass. That is actually somewhat important. Something I forgot about. This is going to be pain in the ass. If you don't have caster mastery and you're not going to spam like an ability to open these hordes, these guys spawn a lot of hordes on the way as they travel, and without this, clicking all of them is going to be pain in the butt. So if you have a melee character that does not have access to something like this, thankfully this cluster is actually good for me too, because it gives me spell damage, and spell damage gets converted to attack damage on this build, so that's actually not useless. But on attack build without access to caster mastery, whew, unless you like to click a lot. But you know, I've been running breach for a long time, and I've been clicking breach splinters like for I don't know how many years, and I survived that. So you know, this is still way better than that. But something to keep in mind, right, guys? But that being said, I am going to give you POB of this farming strat in the description. I'm going to give you the atlas, and I'm going to give you everything that you need to run this. If you guys have any questions, additional questions, feel free to ask in the comments. And that's going to be pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.